Hello and welcome here on the Tunze YouTube channel. You see, we both are dressed in our lederhosen. We are presenting the Bavarian company Tunze here in the US, here on the ReefAPalooza in Dallas. You know, today we want to do a little walk around with you and show you some other companies. I know here you know our booth, our products. Obviously, we are presenting one of the best products in the world here for you.
We get feedback from our customers, learn things that people misunderstand that we need to clarify, ways we can improve our products. So we've had a great time here and look forward to doing more shows. For those of you who weren't able to attend, we'll go around, we'll visit some other vendors, some customers of ours, and show you what they're up to at the show.
Actually, the show starts only in about an hour. We are a bit early, but this is great because the first people are already here and they have time, they have the experience of yesterday, and so we don't interfere with other guests that come to the show.
Here we are with Chris from Unlimited Color Corals. All around great guy. I've known him for over a decade, and actually the anemone that I have that's divided numerous times I got from Chris. I bought several corals from him. He's somebody to always come visit at one of these shows. Very knowledgeable and tends to have just some of the neatest corals as well. And his tanks always look nice and clear. He's a big fan of our products.
Yeah, so huge fan of Tunze products. When I started in as a hobbyist, I would burn through equipment and have a challenge with just finding something that would constantly work. I can't even tell you how many skimmers I still have sitting on a shelf that are broke because they just failed to work after a year. And then I met Roger once, got a skimmer, and I still have to this day that still works. So it's probably 12 years old. It's a little nano skimmer, Tunze 9001 I think it is. Yeah. My opinion after trying so many different products is finding something that works, buying it, once, and buying it right the first time. I mean, everybody in the hobby knows everything is expensive, but if you could save yourself any headache or time, buy the right product first. I mean, Tunze was the originator of most of the products that we use in the industry today, so why not utilize that knowledge that they have and buy something that works and will last you probably your whole life if you really want it.
Of all the corals you have here at the show today, what's your favorite?
It's a little bit different. There's a lot of color right here. Probably some of my favorite corals, and my wife's. We do this together. It's a husband and wife team, but are the Paleothoa grandes, pallies. They're something that we've been growing for numerous years. They're very unique. They don't take over a tank. They have just this large, massive size, and they consume anything that's in the tank, like fish food, like anything that falls on them. So those are actually yes, there's a lot of color in the tank, but those muted green and big giant pallies are some of my favorites at the show this time.
I know that you generally kind of specialize, at least when I visited your farm, in small encrusting gonoporas.
Yes.
And you had a huge collection of them.
Yes.
So is this something new you've added to a specialty of yours?
Kind of, more so encrusters, like unique encrusters and LPS, like the grafted lithophyllon, which is a naturally graft that we've grown for probably 11 years. It was originally imported from Aquatic Realm, and we cut off a little piece and we've just let it grow and grow and grow. And I thought there was another piece over here, but I think we actually sold it yesterday. It's not something that is very large or flowing and people really like, but for someone that's a true enjoyer or collector of unique pieces, that's something that's very unique. When we set up tanks, we try to make a focal point in the first day of the show so that people are drawn to that focal point, but then we surround it with other things that people might be interested in. So it's kind of like a marketing strategy. We don't line everything up specifically. We just try to get a focal point and then allow people to browse through the tanks throughout the day.
As a beginner, I've never seen such a huge zoa at any time in my life. It's really...
He said Palantua.
Palantur, okay.
Talent. I don't know.
It's huge. I like the color here.
I knew
It's
it.
extreme. Wow.
Alcantastrea.
Alcantastrea. Yes, the green and the orange is strong together. So you are selling these tanks here?
Correct. My wife is like the United States representative for Cade USA. It's owned by Algae Barn and Cade USA. They're a partner, and she is the one responsible for making sure like all the customer service experience is flawless from purchasing to delivery. These desktop tanks have a very unique challenge is the ATO on all these tanks, Cade always has built-in ATOs. But with this tank, it's different because it's not a gravity-fed ATO. So finding an auto top-off that actually fits in this tiny chamber.
Oh, it's designed for it.
It's literally like, I was like, wow. I was very skeptical, but I was like, it looks like it'll fit, but I just haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
So is the actual base part of the ATO?
The base is the water reservoir.
Oh, wow.
Ah, wow, okay.
So it's just a freshwater reservoir and it's drilled right here to fill. And then of course now with the osmolator, the magnet will fit right here wherever your desired water level is.
Cool.
Very cool. Problem solved?
Problem solved. Take another win for Tunze.
So we're here with Vic. Vic's pretty much the godfather of this style of coral selling and the coral show, and Worldwide Corals is world famous. And you can see why. I mean, they have the most beautiful corals. They have the most wonderful shop in Orlando. And more than anything, I want to thank Vic and Lou make this whole show possible. As a vendor here, you're treated so well. You get your lunch. It's not like other shows where you're worried about how am I going to break away? How am I going to eat? You're really taken care of. It's so professionally organized. And I mean, just really a class act.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your support as well, you know. It's not an easy task to put these shows together. This is one of the smaller ones, but hopefully we'll see you in Orlando. Are you going to New York and California as well?
So this year we plan to do California, and we're up to renew, and we're talking about Orlando for next year.
Oh, cool. Sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah, we'll definitely be renewing.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. So Tristan at TRSC Corals, or TRSC Aquatics, is actually our neighbor. And the interesting thing is I've known him by emails for probably a decade plus.
Yeah.
Meeting him for the first time. So that's one of the main reasons to do these shows is to get to meet people that you only knew from online. You finally get a face for the name that you see in the email you see. As you can see, he's just got a tremendous selection of corals. I'm sure this is a labor of love. I noticed on your website that your whole family's involved.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just look around. There aren't many exhibitors here with this number of corals. We got soft corals, hard corals, SPS, LPS, a little bit of everything. Even has frags of fungia, which isn't something you see too often. So he's really into it. Tristan, do you want to tell him what your favorite coral is and more or less like your specialties, what it is that really brought you to doing this?
Sure, but before we get to that, first I wanted to say it's honestly been a real awesome honor meeting you.
Oh,
because
thank you.
I remember at least a decade and a half ago, when I first started in the hobby, I was on Reef Central, and I was looking for pumps, and tons kept coming out on top every single time, and I couldn't afford tons. I was a newbie reefer. I just spent $200 online buying somebody's complete setup, and it had 1 tons pump. And ever since then, I wanted more. Local LFS in my area were getting rid of a bunch of tons pumps, and they were kind of like moving to a new line or something like that. And I was able to get in there and buy a bunch of Tunze pumps, right? And none of them worked. They all had something wrong with them, right? Mostly from neglect, not because the pumps themselves were bad. I ended up contacting you the first time and said, I have all these pumps. I don't know what's wrong with them. And one by one, you walked me through each and every single pump, whether or not it was new propellers and shafts, whether or not it needed a new engine, and I was able to revamp all those pumps. Believe it or not, I still have 4 of those pumps still in operation right now in one of my frag tanks. And they're massive. They're a lot bigger than what we have today, but they're still in operation, and they've never needed servicing other than standard, just kind of like rinse them off and soak them down with some citric acid, bring them back to life again. And it's a running joke with Ryan here, my road buddy. Every day we walk in, we go like, is today going to be the day? First it was, is this month going to be the month? Then it became, is this year going to be the year? And they just refuse to die. And I'm just like, I can't buy that level of, I don't know if it's quality or just luck at that point. But they're still in operation and I'm still loving them. And like seeing you here today was like super duper awesome because it's like, wow, this guy was my tech support for years and years and years. You know, so many companies have come and gone over the years, from me moving from a hobbyist to a business, I have my garage, to owning a fish store and actually selling your products. And it's nice to see like people that are still that are still part of the same company. So I just thought that was really cool. I just wanted to say thank you for helping me back then, because you never asked me for any money for tech support. You always gave me the greatest like hookups to try and get all the parts that I needed to make these things work. Because it honestly just felt like you genuinely were like happy that I got the product and wanted to make it work for me. And I just thought that was pretty cool. I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
To your other statement, what's my favorite coral? I love my sticks. I only have one problem with sticks. I never remember any names. I'm the old school reefer that I'll buy something from somebody else. I'll say, oh, that's really nice. I don't have it. Put it in my tank, it becomes this giant mess, and I've already forgotten what half of these are. So we came up with a rule at my shop. We don't care what you want to name it, whether it's Bob, George, Roger, doesn't matter. You just got to make sure that if you like it, you like it. But we also keep one standard price. Like all of my sticks here today are 30 bucks. It doesn't matter which one it is, just 30 bucks. Wow. So whatever you want to call it afterwards, that's entirely up to you. But it's funny because even though I love sticks, the things that we actually sell the most of are going to be a lot of our LPS. So it's going to be things like bar bankies and A-cans, and those are really popular for people these days. Every show around the country that we go to, out of 52 weeks, we're at shows, 40 of them.
Wow.
About 40 weeks. We really travel around the country quite a bit. So what we've noticed, like different areas, they just love different things. You know, up north, a lot of sticks. Like the New York area, those guys loves their SPS corals. Down south where we are, it's a lot of LPS. So when we go to a new area, and Texas is new for us, we're like, let's bring a little bit of everything and just see what sticks. And lo and behold, it's actually a combination of things like chalices and sticks. Those are one of our best sellers. Then it came down to like torches and A-cans, and finally Zoas. I consider myself a hobbyist first, and my entire family are born of hobbyists. My wife, she was just a very supportive wife who rather me play at home with my corals than be out there doing some stupid stuff, right? You know, motorbikes or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So she's like, I know where he is. He's in his fish room talking to his fish. But my wife went from just being a supportive wife to actually owning part of the company and being my boss.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so my wife was my boss. So Ryan and I joke all the time that if we don't make her money, you know, we get home, we're gonna get beat. We gotta make sure we work really hard and play just a little bit, but work really hard most of the time. One of the coolest ones that we have right now, this is a Bower Banky.
That is a really neat piece.
Right, and this was featured in Coral Magazine. It was cut up into about 40 or so pieces. We were lucky enough to get 5 of them, and we got this from our friend Chris over at Carolina. He's a wholesaler over there. We've been growing this now for a few years since we got it. It's a very slow grower. You can see some babies there. That'll probably take almost a year and a half to get to this size, but it makes one of those pieces that you don't really find it ever anywhere, so when you see it, it's a great collector's item. Bounces have always been really, really popular. You know, these are some of our uranium bounces. They love foods that are high in phosphate. Our favorite is like for doing stuff like that, it's going to be coral cane from Quantum. They really love high phosphate foods. It keeps their bubbles. What's funny is that even like babies, you know, from the same parents, these are all from the same family, but these would be considered parents. But the parents, their bubbles, you know, they look different than the babies. So in order to keep a particular baby, you can actually cut these, right? And they take to cutting really, really well. You know, you go straight through the mouth. You can get ambitious and cut it in the 4s, but we're a little bit more conservative. We only cut them in half, and we'll do that like every other month. Some of your viewers might know some of these guys, Endophilias and Cinerinas. Now, what's cool about these guys is that most of these are from Jakarta. They're gonna get really, really hard to get because Jakarta hasn't issued any more CITES, which allows us to be able to import them and for them to export everywhere. They won't be issued until like May, and even then they're gonna be severely reduced. And these are not going to be on the list. You know, if you guys are looking for one of these for your collections, get it now, because, you know, what is, you know, roughly a $250, $300 piece, might start getting up into those 4 digits in the next couple of months, especially since they're not able to be imported anymore.
You actually sell online. You have a website.
We do.
Which you should mention because
absolutely.
people can order this.
Yeah, sure. So you guys can check us out online at TRSC Aquatics, TRSCAquatics.com. Check us out online here. Shipping to Texas, most of the country is only $29.99. For locals in North Carolina, South Carolina, it's only $20. Prices are really fair. We only price things at prices that we would be willing to pay for them. Keeps us a little bit closer to our customers. And actually, since Roger is here and the Tunze team is here, if you use Tunze 20 online, that'll take 20% off of your order from now until the end of the month.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Unfortunately, we don't have the time to visit everybody. There's so great stores here, so great corals here.
So we're with John from Clam Mania. I'm just fascinated by this. I mean, you actually farm all these clams.
Yes.
I mean, they're incredible. And just to see the teardrops, you just don't see those that often. I mean, it's really an accomplishment. They're beautiful.
Yeah, it's very rare. They used to call Maxima teardrops, are called Noes now. It's something like in the 80s. It was one of the hottest clams. Everybody wanted that clam. And then it became out of the market. Now we're trying to introduce it back in the market with captive bred ones. And there's some really nice ones with the neon colors, blues and greens and things like that. So it makes it really interesting when you do your own breeding because you're kind of mixing things up and trying to get different colors. So we're achieving that slowly but surely. It's been a process that started since 2011. And I used to get it more from the wild and things like that. And realizing wild had a lot of issues that came with it. And it took many, many years of trial and error and realizing the best way to do is control yourself. And that took a lot of effort because I would fly to the islands and do lots of experiments over there and try to breed there, do everything there. But it's just so much hard work and much easier to bring it back home.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that buying these this way, you don't have pyramid snails, you don't have the usual pests that would, I mean, it was notoriously difficult to keep a clam. I would imagine these are super sturdy. You know, one thing that was always the holy grail was a black maxima.
Ah, yeah, black maximas, yes,
so can you produce them?
We can try, but it's one of these things, it's more like trial and error with genetics. You can put 2 brown clams together and you can get a black maxima possible sometimes.
Okay.
You don't know what's in there sometimes. It's more trial and error. Okay. I can put 2 neon clams together, you get all browns. So it's like, I'm not that good yet, but it's a lot of testing and then seeing what comes out. And then you run with that one or not run with that batch or whatever it's going to be. So the funny thing about this is that somebody would say, here, John, I want this clam. I saw you guys had it, X amount of time, whatever, or like on our banner, right? But the problem is this. I'm like, yeah, but I sold out of those, meaning that I can't recreate. If I want to, but let's say I try to recreate that, but I might get like thousands of something else. So what do I do with that thousands of something else? I have to sell it. I can't throw it away. So and then there's only so much space. So you're constantly always trying, and you have different batches going, different generations going.
I'm assuming there's like a larval stage and it settles. And how long does it take to get to something like the 1 inch?
Well, a yearling usually is like this big.
Wow.
But from there it grows faster, Okay. So but it depends on the condition. So if there's a lot of light, whether it's sunlight or artificial light, the more light, consistent light, the right elements, you can grow a lot faster. We've been experimenting in different ways to add different things inside to see if we can speed up the growth. Other elements where we can also try to get more fluorescent color, like just more bright colors. So we're still experimenting. But yeah, it takes a while, but once it gets to a certain size, it kind of doubles very fast. It depends on the species of clam, whether it's Cressidas or Maximas. And of course, if it's Durasa, Squamosa, Gygas, they grow much faster.
Okay.
Yeah. So something like this, these are the Noes that we were talking about earlier. See the special neon Noes. This guy is about 1 inch or so. That guy, in a year's time, believe it or not, will be about half the size of this or about that size. They grow pretty fast. And a year from there, it'll go to that size. And a year from there, about here. So when they're small, it takes a long time for that yearling to become, it bounces from that to that pretty fast. And a year, you're like, wow, that's pretty fast growth. But then from there, it accelerates. And also, what's very interesting is, if you look at the Noes right now, and a lot of the clams, especially in the Noes, the patterns, you see whatever you see pattern right now, let's go down really quick, I'll show you. There's a lot of tiny little dots right now being developed. Some of them, if you look around, have less dots. It looks like lines. But my point is, over time, they start dividing, and then later on, you get a lot of teardrops. As it developed, the patterns change for these guys. Some other ones don't, but some other ones have zero patterns. I could have some gold Corsias over there. Right now, be like just gold. But 6 months later, also I'll come back. Well, wait a minute, where's all these patterns? And they see teardrops. So whatever I see at beginning, I don't know for sure sometimes. Usually you would see, okay, that is, and like some of them, these are like rainbows, small rainbows. When I say rainbow, I mean anything with orange and multiple colors. We see here, there's one here. As time goes by, it'll be one of these guys, right? So the colors become more pronounced, more beautiful. So it's kind of like watching a toddler grow. You have a baby. You're like, okay, I think it looks like dad, but I don't know what it's going to look like. But in time, it becomes a teenager. Let's say a girl. You're like, okay, I think she's going to look what she's going to look like. But as an adult, she looks different. So it's a progression with the clams that way too. I don't care about the size because I'm breeding for the most spectacular clam. If you get this small little size, for example, this guy is crazy. Super neon green with like orange middle, no way. I've never seen that before. So let's say out of 10,000 batch, how many survive? How many actually, and then they make it to this size? And how many are actually that color? One. So the price, I'm like, well, that guy is the most expensive one. Everybody's gonna want him. I can't recreate it, ever, maybe, hopefully I can, not sure. Right? Maybe sometimes I'm successful with it, but sometimes like another 10 years maybe, I don't know. So it'll be in the hobby. Whoever buys it gets it, and that's it. It's like almost a collector's item. So the price is based on color and kind of like the rareness and the more beautiful. And visually, we all pick the same one in the system. Oh, that one. Everybody goes to the same one. It's either more colorful, more bright, more neon, whatever it is. Yeah, so it's not size.
And of what you have here today, which one would I guess that one would be your favorite? The
rainbow. Like this one is actually one of our clients already picked it up, but this particular rainbow is very bright. There's another few that has the same pattern, almost similar to that, but there's only very rare, only a few.
And you ship. I took a look at your website.
Yeah.
So Clam Mania, if you're looking for any clams, John's your guy.
Yeah. We ship, and I'm the guy. I would be a better guy if I had this. I mean, this is so cool. I saw him walking around with this. I'm like, oh my, I want that. That is so cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, David should probably introduce me. He's a lot more famous than I am. But this is David,
in my own mind.
This is David from Reef to Reef.
Hey guys.
We've had our wonderful time on Reef to Reef with our support forum. David just runs, I think, the best forum on all of the internet, especially for our hobby, but it is a very well run forum where you can feel safe. You don't have to worry about being attacked as a newbie. He makes sure it's a really fair playing field, and he's good to people. And more than anything, he's just a really good man.
That's quite the compliment. Thank you, Roger.
I'm really happy to have our forum there, and if you ever need any help, I've helped people from almost every country. So it's not just the U.S., but from anywhere.
Thank you, Roger. And I got to say, one of the most consistent things about the hobby has been Tunze, and that's how you say it, folks. I'm telling you, I know from the family source that's how you say it. But Tunze has been consistent on Reef to Reef. Roger has, and I will say this, Roger, we get a lot of feedback about you on the forums. Other manufacturers, distributors, stores, and things like that are not as active and customer service oriented as Roger is with Tunze. And of course, I'm not just saying this, but the products speak for themselves, and the quality of, German made, what can you say, But we're just thankful for the relationship that we've had, and we welcome you to come to Reef, and it's a free community, and that's what we pride ourselves in, being there for one another. Family-friendly, flame-free place to be, and you're more than welcome, and we're just excited to see where this hobby continues to go, and man, we're thankful for you guys, and it's so good to see you here at ReefAPalooza.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So guys, at this point I have to tell you that I'm super sorry that we cannot show you all the nice stands here, but I can tell you there are so many nice people, and I got goosebumps only thinking about it, actually, because as you just have seen in this video, there are so many people so related to us, and this really touched me actually. I can tell you it's definitely worth coming to these shows, and definitely this show is worth a visit. So if you have the chance, come over here. Probably you see Roger or me next time. By the way, we are growing up this channel here in the US, so if you are in the US and you want to see more of this content, then please follow this channel and leave a like. We would really appreciate. And see you in the next video.